My thematic text for the day is taken from the book of Job. The book of Job opens explaining that he is the richest man in the land. It says that he has 7 sons, 3 daughters, owns 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 pair of oxen, 500 donkeys, and a large number of servants. He was indeed the richest person in the East. But shortly thereafter, explaining all that greatness and how he was just such a great and moral person, it says the devil came and accused him of being less than honorable to God. The devil proceeds to test Job, to afflict him. Consequently, by the time that we get to the 13th chapter, he has lost his wealth, he's lost his health, he's lost his children. His friends have accused him and have even caused him to question his faith. Job's wife even tries to persuade him to curse God and die. It is within that context that Job proclaims, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. What does that actually mean? Job is saying that I acknowledge and I understand that nothing can happen to me unless it's first filtered through God. He was saying, I understand and believe in the sovereignty of God. What is the sovereignty of God? Well, the sovereignty of God is the biblical teaching that all things are under God's rule and that nothing happens without his direction or permission. God works not just some things, but all things according to the counsel of his will. His purpose are all inclusive, never thwarted. Nothing takes him by surprise. The sovereignty of God is not merely that God has the power and the right to govern all things, but that he does so, always and without exception. In other words, God is not merely sovereign de jure in principle, but sovereign de facto in practice. Nothing that you can go through, nothing that happens to you is not first filtered through God. The question on the floor is, with that understanding, even when God says no, even when the healing doesn't come, even when your mama dies, your daddy dies, even when your kids die, can you trust God? Well, let me change that phrase. Not can you trust God, will you trust God? Because you can trust God. Will you trust God? That's the question on the floor. Is that in the midst of your storm, will you trust God? The real test of your faith is, will you trust God? The real test of your faith is, when you get a no from God, will you still believe that he's working things out to your good? When a family member dies, can you trust and believe that God still has your best interests at heart? When all hell breaks loose in your life, will you trust God? My friends, might I encourage you today that no matter what you might be going through today, trust God. He is the Almighty God. He is the creator of all things great and small. You can trust God. Will you trust God in the midst of your storm?